Let's talk about life, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the truth and consciousness, divinity. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about love.
So welcome to Spiritual Nerd Presents, and I'm one of your hosts, Ninette Terhart.
And I am the other host, Linda O'Connell.
Yeah, and you know what time it is.
It's time for some real talk
about healing, y'all.
And I'll say, okay, welcome to episode 1. Today's show is Leggo My Ego. I love it.
All right, so I called in the assembly. I make you in charge. I know nothing. So we'll just see.
I love that. We know nothing. It's a good place to be. So, Linda, we got an email from Matthew in Cincinnati, and he had a question for us. So I thought it'd be a great way to start the show off. He says, hey, Ninette and Linda, can you please explain in more detail what the ego is and maybe some tips on how to deal with it? So I thought it'd be fun if first I gave the dictionary's description of the ego.
Oh, boy. I'm sure that's good.
It's a good one. So here we go. Ego's description. It says it's a noun. A person's sense of self-esteem. Oh, she couldn't resist. She had to laugh right off the bat. I love it. I think that's fantastic. Self-importance. And then it says a boost to my ego. There's an example of using it in a sentence. And then synonyms. Self-esteem. Self-importance.
Well,
Self-worth. Here we go. I'm loving it.
Self-esteem.
Right? Self-respect. Self-conceit. Okay, now we're getting closer. Self-image. Self-confidence. And then here's another use in a sentence. He needed a boost to his ego. Okay, so then there's a quick little thing under that. Psychoanalysis says the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. Okay, and then the last one is the philosophy in metaphysics says a conscious thinking subject. Huh.
Well, gee, how many counts of wrong are there in that?
Right? Well, I'd like to maybe start by telling, sharing with Matthew that the ego is not real, right? I mean, we know this, we discussed this. It is a state of mind.
Yes.
Right? I mean, with your own experiences, Linda, right?
Negative thought system.
Yes. Awesome. Negative thought system.
Yeah, it is a negative thought system. It is all of the negative thoughts that when the mind split, all the negative thoughts that came up with the fear of separating from God and heaven. Yeah. And so it's a fear of separation. It's just insane thought system, which really that's what all these thoughts are. The ego thoughts just keep us busy.
Glued.
Yes, glued. Just work, like a hamster on the wheel. Just gotta do. Need. It's the ego. Just that's the only way that it can survive.
Right, and something else I think is interesting that we should maybe talk about is the fact that if some people have an issue with, the word God, we could say like source. And then if we get back to separate, you said the split mind. So let's chat about that for a minute. The split mind, like split from what? Our source. Yes. What is our source? It's the creation of life, which we are.
Right. And it started with a tiny mad idea, just the thought that we could actually be separate from God, and that's impossible.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely impossible. We are one with God,
right? And
we are all one with God. We are not separate from each other. It's just these meat suits
and the meat globs.
The stuff that that it appears through my meat globs, these globs of meat right here.
Yeah, those meat globs. Yeah. Well, I have something that I'd love to share, and we were talking about this, Linda, a couple of days ago about the Big Bang, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to have a little fun with that, I was thinking when I was in meditation the other day, I felt this kind of like download of like the misperception of what we thought the life-giving essence of our source or God, whatever you want to call it, when it gave its life to us. That the meat globs or the science aspect would perceive that as like a big bang, and then all of a sudden we would see sort of gases and like matter start to express itself from source. But we misinterpreted that as a rejection, as a you're on your own, bitches, and get on with it. So let's talk about that, because we were talking about that the other day, and you had said that like this whole misinterpretation of that.
It's just a misinterpretation. That's what the Course of Miracles that I was guided to. And on my website, it gives a little more information on that and how I found it. And I've got a library of books listed there that people can read and get more information on the subject. But yes, it all goes back to the tiny mad idea, just a thought that we could be separate from God. Yeah. And then there was just too much guilt, just too much fear, too much guilt, too much to bear. And so we immediately made up other people to share the blame, to share the guilt. And then these people, we needed them to make us victims. Like, I did this, but look at them. Look what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not bad, but they are.
Yeah.
Wow, the guilt over there.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting. So there's that ego, that split mind saying, hey, you're not responsible. You still feel like shit, but you're responsible.
Yes.
And that's
and we are. We have to take responsibility. That's just a thing. This is an illusion. This is a dream. This isn't real. Bodies are not real. But we really need to take responsibility for this because it isn't real. And the way out is to undo it. So we just undo it through our feelings.
Okay, so now that's what Matthew wanted to he was asking, can you give me some tips on how, I guess that's what he's asking. How do we undo that? And I know from the things we've discussed, you have to really get still, get calm, and really go in and feel the feelings.
Yes, it's important. Feeling these feelings, not sweeping them under the rug, and also not feeding them and feeding them and feeding them.
Yeah.
I did that for many years. And my body.
I've never done that. Never.
Never. Well, my body just gave from it. It just gave out. I had body parts that, that those are dark, negative thoughts like that, where you're blaming and you believe you're a victim. And many of us start out like this from childhood. We wrote the script. We wrote the script from the tiny mad idea. So when we're writing ourselves as victims and we have all these other people, including our parents or siblings or anyone else, and how, poor me, and, feeding off of that, just victimization and feeling a pity party.
And the stories. Let's talk a little bit about how, boy, do we tell ourselves stories.
Yes.
And we'll see a person, a projected person, behaving or doing something a certain way, which evokes something within us. That's the key right there. Take your mind away from the story.
That's right.
Right there is that saving grace moment, that, latency of like, oh, okay, gotta go in.
Yes. That's it. That's your gold nugget.
There's your gold nugget.
Hey, I'm feeling something. That's your salvation. Yeah. Right there. It's like, oh, I'm feeling hurt, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling, anything other than peace and love and kind and compassion, if I'm feeling anything like that from one of these triggers, it needs to be undone.
And so there the story stops right there.
Yes.
Now we're inward, and now we're taking full responsibility, even though it feels like camel poo.
That's right.
Because we've all been there.
We've all been there. There is nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to hide. It is the Holy Spirit that wants to shine the light on it.
Okay, so I want to stop us there for a sec. So we're talking Holy Spirit. I know some people have a kind of like a little bit of a nervous twitch about that whole thing, God, Holy Spirit. So we could offer like our source,
just reject that.
The great aspect.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with.
Whatever aspect of yourself.
Exactly. Whatever, universe, it doesn't matter. It's the intent.
The intent. I love that.
Yeah, it's the intent, and it really doesn't matter.
No.
But the Course of Miracles, which is the story of the tiny mad idea, the channeled information from Jesus to Helen Schuckman, that's what he's saying, that this is the fast track out of the dream. And so we're in it's true forgiveness. We're not forgiving people because I forgive you because I'm better than that. Right. I forgive you because no, we're not going there. I forgive you because I put you there. I wrote you into my script that you were going to be this way.
And that's my interpretation of it, which come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the fast track out of here. We are going through an enormous shift right now.
Well, and the cool thing is we don't need a membership. Fast track.
No, we don't. It's free.
We're
free. You can do it anytime. You can do it out loud. You can do it just in your own head. I mean, it's just the way it should be. It's just it's you and your relationship with Source, Creator, Holy Spirit, Jesus, whatever. It is your relationship there. It is like things are not going so well. There's some problems.
There's got to be a better way. Got to be a better way.
Yes, it's got to be a better way, and this is the better way. It is all about God, or source, or universe. Instead of saying all this, I'm just going to say God because that's just what I think.
Yeah, bring it on. I love it.
And if you don't feel comfortable with God, you could forgive it and hand it over and see if you feel better about that word. Because there are triggers. There are triggers, with churches and things. I had triggers about angels. As a child, all I heard about was the angel of death in church. And so anytime I heard angels, like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Don't need any angels of death. But there is no death. There's no such thing as death. And there's no such thing as bodies. We just need to undo this dream. But time is collapsing, and there are so many people practicing A Course in Miracles. And it's not to read the Course in Miracles, but to actually apply it to your everyday life. Right. And once you start doing it, and you take these forgivenesses all the way back to the beginning where you entered into the dream, whoa. I mean, that is awesome. You're really undoing it.
And if we put into a practical sense here, let's start from like ground zero, which I feel is as soon as you have a trigger and it doesn't feel good, you can label it anything you want. There's your nugget. So right then you stop in your tracks and you say, hey, don't feel good.
Yes.
You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to hash up an old story. If there's a story there, fine, let it go. Get it feeling.
It's just ego story. The ego wants to take you there. Yeah. The ego goes, let's stick with the story. Remember how bad he was? Remember how awful that was? Mm-hmm. Remember our parents and how they messed up? It's all of that.
They're to blame. Yeah.
So why are we judging a dream? Why are we analyzing a dream? Why are we doing this to an illusion?
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter. The only thing that is real is love.
Yeah.
And that is what matters.
Well, and you know what? That's a big slice of pie for some people that really, I mean, the density of this dream, Linda, as we know, is very, very, like, feels really real.
Yes, it does. It does. And, I don't see how anybody could figure this out on their own.
I know. I couldn't.
It would take an ascended master. It would take angels. It would take the Holy Spirit to bring this to us.
Yeah.
And it comes to us when we're ready.
When we're ready.
When we're ready.
Well, you said something really interesting there. You said ascended masters, angels. And we know, it's obviously nice to know it in theory, but to really experience that, which I know a lot of people have, these metaphysical experiences of these different levels of dimension and frequency. But really the grand scheme is we are all one. But as we come out of the dream, we get to these different levels of dimension, of frequency, of understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. And this is the celestial speed up.
Yeah.
We are collapsing time with this work as we do the true forgiveness, looking at it and saying, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And I look at it with time idea. Oh yeah, this is what I wrote here. And
it's what I wrote.
We're just collapsing time. It's a year isn't a year anymore.
No, my gosh, it is not.
We're almost halfway through the year already.
I know.
And I feel like there's really big shifts ahead for us. And at some point, we really will feel united. That's the whole thing. We've got to stop judging and pointing the finger and blaming. The Course in Miracles says that anger is never justified. So if you're angry, it's a very good thing to look at it with the Holy Spirit, look at it with Jesus, however you want to say it, look at it and say, what is this really about that needs to be healed in my mind?
This is what I wanted to get to now. Let's get to a practical usage here. We want to talk about that.
That is, I work with those people that know me, know that I work with a large group of angels, ascended masters, archangels, and a group of angels called the Angels of White Light. And they said to call them the Assembly. And so I can hear them, and they guided me, they led me to the Disappearance of the Universe, Gary Renard's book.
Right.
And that's how I entered A Course in Miracles. It was one day I heard a voice. I was just walking through my house, and I heard this voice say, "Be a seeker of the truth." And I stopped and I thought, that sounds really great. What is it?
Right.
And I didn't know who was talking to me at that time, but that was the first time that I heard the Assembly.
Yeah.
And the being a seeker of the truth. The truth is that we are love.
Bottom line.
That's what we are. We are the sonship. Yeah. We are God's holy child.
And also, the minute, the second, the millisecond that you feel out of alignment with just being, there's something there to tend to. Yes. And I'd love to just go through a quick example that I use. Because I know Matthew has that question.
Yeah.
What's a little tip? And I think the biggest element that I've been using is the handing it over.
Time to hand it over, hand it over, hand it over. Oh, you gotta put down your phone, turn off the radio, get real still. It's the only way to hand it over, hand it over.
So we feel the emotion. Okay, I'm angry at this person. Stop. Here I am. I'm with the emotion. What is this really about in my mind? What is this really about in my mind that I need to heal? Mm-hmm. And you might not hear anything. You might feel something, or you might see something in your mind's eye. But all you have to do is just say, you know what? I don't really know what this is about, because if nothing comes, I've talked to a lot of people that are like, nothing comes to me. I don't know. But like we said, it's that intent. Just saying, you know what? I'm releasing this over to you. to be replaced with love and light.
Yes.
I forgive it, replace it with love and light.
Yes.
You know, in the one mind. I always do the one mind because I just want to clear it all out.
Yes. Yes. That's what we want to do. And the more of us that are doing this work, the better. Every single one of us that is practicing true forgiveness, it is collapsing time.
Well, and we're seeing a shift in the frequency of others, seemingly separated beings. I call them SSBs.
Yes.
Seemingly separated beings around us. I've seen the shift in frequency. I've seen that change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know you have too.
Oh yeah, and when we have no expectations, when we do this work, when we practice the true forgiveness, we just don't have any expectations.
No.
You just leave it blank. And then it's just amazing, some of the things that start to shift and change. These are miracles.
Yeah.
They are miracles when something dark and ugly and negative and can be turned around.
Yeah.
And you see, it's like, oh my goodness, like that was taken care of, but I didn't decide how it would be taken care of.
Exactly.
I didn't do that. I just gave it to him, and then I just let it go. The other thing that's helpful is to practice mindfulness. I like to, when I'm driving, I like to listen to my breathing.
Oh, excellent. That's a great.
And it's
great
just in and out, and then I'm just in the moment. Because the ego chatter is like, no, don't think of that. Think about that awful, embarrassing time. Remember when you were in school and, you know, that's what the ego wants to do.
Well, then it takes you down this whole stream of stories again. There's the beautiful brilliance of the ego.
Goes. It has tentacles, and it will grab onto all kinds of stuff.
And I think a key thing for us to really remind everyone of is that the ego is not the enemy. It doesn't exist. So we have to remember that within the ego, there lies a treasure. And it's just this source knocking the door saying, hey, this is an illusion.
That's right. That's all it is. It's not data. We're just we're releasing the fear.
Exactly. It's coming up like a good, you know, when you go and take a dump, you can't eat food and hold it in your body in the meat food. You gotta let it out.
You feel so much better.
So much better. Now, Linda, before we finish up, I want to read this quick little thing from A Course in Miracles, page 160. It's really fun, and I think it's hilarious. It says here, undermining the foundations of an ego thought system must be perceived as painful, even though this is anything but true. And this is hilarious. Babies scream in rage if you take away a knife or scissors, even though they may well harm themselves if you do not. In this sense, you are a baby. You have no sense of real self-preservation and are very likely to decide that you need precisely what would hurt you the most.
Yes, it's true.
It's
true. And to hold on to grievances and judgments and hold on to them for years and years and years. It's like holding on to those scissors and running as a toddler. That's
why? What happened?
I'm going to hurt myself.
I love it. Well, we're going to finish up here today. This was fantastic. And I want to say thanks everyone for watching. Linda, thank you so much. We always have a good time when we...
Thank you, Ninette. I love it when we get together. It is so much fun.
It is great. And I just want to let everyone remember to surrender. Why? Because you are infinite spirit.
Yes.
I am. Thank you so much.
Let's talk about life, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the truth and consciousness, divinity. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about love.